sun beats down from the African skies, teeming masses of people stare out in front of them, standing together, bodies touching. The sweet smell of anticipation hangs heavy in the air. This has been the moment that millions of us have been waiting for. I look at the slow-moving hands on my watch. How much longer do we have to wait? And haven't we waited a lifetime already? I feel my heart beating in my throat, the sweet smell of anticipation, excitement through every pore of my being. And in the blink of an eye, it happens. I see him standing in front of us. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, Madiba, the father of my nation. His day started and ended like any other young child raised in the South African plains. You rise early, help with a few chores, go to school. You play football barefooted on the dry, dusty ground. More chores, homework, time for bed. Who could ask for more? He never thought these happy days would end. Born Rolihlahla Mandela to a Xhosa chief, a tribal leader and counselor to the royal house, Nelson was being primed for this position that he would later fill. One sunny day, he arrived at the school doors, full of anticipation for the new adventures that he would meet. But instead, he is given a new name, Nelson, by the school's missionaries. He likes his new name. It rolls off the missionaries' tongues. He enjoys school like most young boys his age. An outstanding student with an inquisitive mind, Nelson chose to become an attorney. He leaves Transkei and heads for Johannesburg, where he studies law. He would not know that this would be the turning point in his life. This would be the place where he would first encounter racism. Together with his comrade and partner, Oliver Tambo, they become the first black attorneys at law to have their private practice. In 1992, as volunteer-in-chief of the African National Congress and the South African Indian Congress, the defiance of unjust laws is launched. Mandela, Tambo, and many others are imprisoned for defying the apartheid legislation. This would be the beginning of his long walk to freedom. Nelson Mandela followed the teachings of many great men before him: Karamchand Mahatma Gandhi, Pandit Nehru, Dr. Martin Luther King. He practiced and preached passive resistance together with his Indian brothers, but this was to be short-lived. They were met with violence at every turn, beatings, floggings, and brutal treatment in prison that more often led to death. A new army was formed, the Spear of the Nation, obviously banned by the South African government. They were a force to be reckoned with. Many countries who believed in the cause helped train Nelson Mandela and his men. He learned the art of camouflage and skillful disguises. This earned him the name, the Black Pimpernel. In 1962, he was imprisoned for illegally leaving the country and inciting workers' strike. This would be the start of a nearly 3 decades of imprisonment. While in prison, he is charged with treason and now sentenced for life. However morose, he had the company of his lifetime friends, Amit Kathrada, Walter Sisulu, Mac Mirage, and many others. They gave each other strength, courage, and determination. This was the greatest mistake the South African government would ever make. Prison was meant to destroy their spirits and demolish their resolve, not build bonds of friendship and brotherhood. Together, these brilliant minds continued to plot the course for a free, fair, and democratic South Africa. Robben Island became their campus for political sciences and their home. On the outside, the people continued the struggle. Steve Biko gave his life for the struggle. The 1976 uprising in which students demonstrated against having Afrikaans, a minority language, from being taught as an official medium in schools and colleges. 700 school children lost their lives from one school district. These movements continued until 1989, when the government decided something had to give. Change was in the air. On February 11, 1990, Nelson Mandela walked hand in hand through the gates of Robben Island, his home, his cage, with his white prison warden. His message to the South African people was, let the healing begin. We need to learn to forgive, but not forget. The struggle is one of South Africa's greatest heritages. The day is April 27, 1994, another blistering hot autumn day in southern Africa. It is 4:30 a.m. My aging grandmother, my parents, my siblings, friends, and I, we all stand in line, waiting to cast our first vote in a free and fair election. This was a rebirth of the Rainbow Nation. It was the proudest and most momentous day in my life. After nearly 3 decades on this beautiful earth, this was to be the first day that I see pride in my father's eyes. This was the day that he was no longer going to be an indentured slave. He was now a free man. And all I could say was, thank you, Madiba. You made us a free people. Nelson Mandela sacrificed the best part of his life, time with his wife, watching his children grow up, for the freedom of his people. For this, in 1993, he was given the Nobel Peace Prize, together with F.W. de Klerk, the former South African president. He was also awarded the Order of Merit and the Order of St. John by Queen Elizabeth. Many other countries, the list goes on, America, Canada, India, China, all honor him. But the greatest honor comes from us, his people. The honor of being called Madiba, father of the nation. Today, I listen to it on the radio, watch it on television, the carnage and the massacre in countries like Rwanda, Kenya, and Darfur. And all I can say is, thank God for the one man who prevented all this in South Africa. Only Nelson Mandela could accomplish this. Thank you.